A new one-woman feminist comedy show detailing how far women's rights have come since winning the vote here has opened in London. Not Yet Suffragette highlights how women have struggled with overcoming stereotypes through the decades while trying to make their way in the world and get equality. It's not just the past that the show is bringing some awareness to, it is also spotlighting a campaign to get a 50-50 gender balance in the UK Parliament in Westminster. So I'm pleased to say that with me is comedian Natalie Cutler, who wrote and stars in the show, and Frances, you can probably tell by her T-shirt, Frances Scott, founder of the 50-50 Parliament campaign. Thanks both for coming on to talk to us here on GMT. Natalie, first, what made you put this show together?
I think it was just frustration, really. I know we talk about how far we have come since the suffragette movement, but there's still a lot of things that we haven't come that far with since the suffragette movement, and they're kind of the things that I wanted to shed light on. The reason I did it through comedy was because I read this statistic that people are more open to receiving alternative information and taking on new ideas when they're laughing. So yes. I thought if I can turn women's rights stories into a comedy, then people won't notice that I'm trying to affect.
Because there is that danger of being seen as lecturing or preaching, isn't
exactly,
there? So if you make people laugh, you're halfway there.
Yeah, if they're laughing, they're not noticing that I'm doing it.
Yeah. And Frances, who got in touch with whom to get the two of you together?
Yeah, I contacted Frances when I premiered at Brighton Fringe 2 years ago. There was a lot of people telling me, like, oh, you should reach out to these people and you should reach out to that people, and 50-50 Parliament kind of got thrown into the mix, and I was like, this suits me, this suits what I'm all about, and I really wanted to support. And so Frances at the time just said, keep me updated, and when you're in London and we can work together, let's do something. So as soon as I got booked in London, I contacted her and was just like, let me support 50-50.
And Frances, how did you get to where you are? What was your kind of driving motivation in setting up the movement?
Well, I used to be in business, and when I got married, had children, I trained to be an antenatal teacher. And after years of antenatal teaching, it seemed that birth hadn't got any better. I started about 20 years ago, and I was very frustrated with this. And then I looked at the makeup of Parliament. This was in 2013. And men outnumbered women by 4 to 1. And there were 65 countries that were doing better in terms of gender balance. And it just seemed that not many people in Parliament had actually ever become pregnant or given birth. So it was something that didn't really speak to them. And representation shapes policy. Well, we've come some way since then. And now men outnumber women 2 to 1 in the Commons and 3 to 1 in the Lords. But on the basis of the last election, only 12 extra women were elected. And at that rate, it will take over 50 years to get gender equality.
We're sometimes told, well, things are getting better, so wait.
Well, not quick enough. And
that's why it's called Not Yet Suffragette.
Yes.
Because it's like, oh, you want the vote? OK, but not yet suffragette.
Yeah.
Oh, you want gender equality? OK, but not yet suffragette.
So both in your own way, through political campaigning and through pointing this out with irony and laughter, you're trying to say, look, we're rather impatient.
Yeah. Yeah.
We absolutely are.
I mean, they're going to give us what we want, but, not yet suffragette.
We have a petition, which is the way the suffragettes and the Fawcett Society historically worked. But we've also launched something called Ask Her to Stand. We're taking action to actually get women elected. And so we now want everyone to use our website to ask the good women they know that might make good MPs to stand.
OK, something else I have to ask you, and Natalie, I'm going to direct this at you, is there is always a danger of preaching to the converted, with largely women who are already on side. Do you get any guys coming to the show?
I do. I get a really well-balanced mix of men and women. And
Which you might not expect.
No, and it was something I was really nervous about at first. When I started to see men in my audience, I was like, oh God, I really want them to enjoy it. I don't want it to feel, like a tongue bashing. And the reason that I know it works is because I have had men who don't know me, who have come to my show, reached out to me on social media afterwards and said things to me like, my partner is pregnant, and because of what you've said, we're really thinking about naming our child after her now.
So they're not, that's really positive and surprising.
Working.
So you don't get heckled?
No, I don't get heckled.
By men or women?
No, I think
Everybody's
they're
taking it in
probably
good spirit?
Yeah, I think they're sat there like, let's just listen to her and not interrupt. Maybe, I don't know. But no, I don't get heckled.
Well, I love the way that you've actually approached each other and you're kind of throwing light onto each other's campaigns as you are today.
Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you very much, Frances and Natalie, for coming on set and talking to us about what you're doing. Good luck with the show. And we've got the advert for your campaign right there on your T-shirt.
Yes.
Frances